Well, hello everyone, I'm Darth Browner, and welcome to the next part of my Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations playthrough. In the previous video, Phoenix discovered that Pearl Fay has two sisters, Iris Hawthorne and Dahlia Hawthorne. Of course, we're all familiar with Dahlia Hawthorne if you've been following the game. In the first case of Trials and Tribulations, she was a witness and ended up getting prosecuted. And of course, in the fourth case of the game, she had a major part to play in that. So that name was pretty familiar. So without further ado, Iris has taken the witness stand, and there's going to be a climatic trial and a half. So let's get ready to rumble. Good morning! Oh, are you by yourself? Oh, morning, Pearls. Mr. Nick, please tell me, what's going to happen to Mystic Maya? I'm sorry, we don't know yet. The investigation is still going on, so I wasn't allowed into the inner temple. Oh, I see. So is Sister Iris still trying to remove those trick locks in the training hall? No, she's a defendant in this case, so she can't be at the inner temple. She's required to be here in court. Then how come she's not here in the defendant's lobby? I have to admit it's kind of strange. If you're looking for Iris, she's in the prosecutor's lobby. Edgeworth? What's Iris doing over there? She's going over today's testimony with the prosecutor as we speak. Today's testimony? You heard me. Iris is going to be testifying as a witness for the prosecution. Wait, what? Prosecutor is squeezing her for a confession. So I heard. Franziska von Karma, what are you up to? I know what you're thinking, but Franziska isn't going to be the prosecutor today. What? Then who is? Who else would it be but Godo? Godo? Franziska is engaged in some important work at the Sacred Cavern. Sacred Cavern? You don't mean that she's... Exactly. She's been out there all night trying to remove those trick locks. With the head nun's assistance, naturally. We estimate that the last of the locks should be taken care of in about 3 hours. I hope everything continues to go smoothly and we receive some good news soon. Yeah, thanks Edgeworth. Prosecutor Godo intends to nail this case shut today. Be prepared to fight like there's no tomorrow. You don't have to tell me that. Touché, I can already see it in your eyes. You're not the same fever-ridden frantic maniac you were yesterday. Strange, on the way here I decided that today would be the end of all this. Almost immediately after I made that decision, I felt myself getting stronger. Interesting. Maybe you've passed your cold on to someone else, literally. And with that, I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, partner. Thanks. I still don't have answers to most of the riddles plaguing this case. Circumstances around the murder of Miss Elise Dunham, no, I mean Ms. Misty Fay. The impossible flight Larry claims to have seen. And what that woman is really after. I will solve them all and bring this whole tragedy to an end. Court is now in session for the trial of Iris of Hazakura Temple. Your Honour, what are you... Who, me? Well, my little brother came to visit me in my chambers earlier this morning. All of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, he developed a scorching fever and fainted. Therefore, I'll be standing in for him. I see, Your Honour, so they're brothers, that explains a lot. My poor brother, he looked a little pale, to mention, sad that he couldn't be here. It is impossible to predict what the future has in store for any of us. This is precisely why people feel the need to judge the past, and we, the court, have been charged with the solemn duty of passing such judgment. Well said, Mr. Godo. I understood exactly what you said, at least up until the end, anyway. Now then, Mr. Godo, please proceed with your opening statement. Humans are fragile, fickle beings. Our hearts change with the shifting of the tides. There's only one thing that remains a constant in this crazy world. The bitter darkness that lies at the bottom of this mug. So then you mean... forget it. What do you mean? During yesterday's trial, the accused refused to admit her role in the crime. But today she has had a change of heart. Sister Iris of Hazakura Temple has a confession to make. A confession? Is that the defendant? Iris, why didn't she discuss this with me first? Very well. Let's call and I'll hear the defendant's confession. Upon meeting a beautiful lady, always ask for her name and profession. That's one of my rules.
My name is Iris. I am but a simple nun undergoing training at Hazakura Temple.
Witness, is there something that you want to confess to?
Yes, but first I want to apologise to Mr. Wright. I can't continue lying to everyone anymore.
It's alright. What is it?
Mr. Wright, I have to admit that I did play a part in this terrible incident.
Are you actually confessing? Are you saying that you were the one who murdered Miss Elise Durham?
No, I'm not, Your Honour. But I dealt with the cover-up after the murder took place. After her spirit left, I took the lifeless shell of Mystic Elise and carried it to the Hazakura Temple courtyard where I desecrated it.
What? Order in the court. Order. Witness, are you saying you were an accomplice to the murder?
Yes, that's correct.
What? 3 minutes in court and I'm already covered in a cold sweat. Ha! Everyone on the planet is accomplice to something. It just happens to be that in this case it's the murder. Isn't that right, Mr. Trial? Godo. So this is the confession they were conferring about. It pains me to say this, but it's that Iris' testimony was all a lie. Now then, little lady, if you don't mind, I've got a question for you. Whose crime were you trying to cover up by your actions? Iris was covering for someone. And now I'm definitely up the creek without a paddle or a life jacket.
I've been at Hazakura Temple ever since I was a little girl. Hazakura Temple is run by one of the branch families of the Korean tradition. One of our missions is to protect the main family.
I'm sorry, but main family?
Yes, and that's why I should dirty myself if need be to protect her. The daughter of the master of the Korean channeling technique, Mystic Maya Fey.
Huh? Wake up and smell the coffee, Try. She's naming Maya? Order the court. So not only did you witness the murder, you know the name of the murderer.
I'm terribly sorry, but it's true. I saw her commit the crime with my very own eyes, and I cleaned up the area to try to protect her.
That's ridiculous. The defense will refrain from commenting until the appropriate time. Now witness, let's hear your testimony. What exactly happened on the night of the crime?
Yes, Your Honour.
I thought I was prepared for the unexpected, but I never imagined the case would wind up going in this direction.
I went to the inner temple that night and saw it all happen in the garden. I saw Mystic Elise strike Mystic Maya with her staff. While Mystic Maya was still stumbling, Mystic Elise moved in to deliver a fatal strike. Mystic Maya tried desperately to defend herself and stole the weapon. It was only in self-defense, you can't blame her for it.
So it was in self-defense?
Yes, Mystic Elise was the one who attacked first. That's why I tried my best to protect Mystic Maya.
You moved the victim's body to the temple so that Maya wouldn't be suspected. It's not right, not bad. Got the instincts of a true criminal. Something's not quite right. I'm sure it was established yesterday that Iris never went to the inner temple that night, and that the person who did go was that woman. Iris even admitted it. Now then, Mr. Wright, please proceed with your cross-examination. She moved in to deliver the fatal strike?
Yes, I'm sure of it. She threw down her staff and reached into her robe for a weapon.
Wait a minute. What was this weapon?
It was some kind of dagger.
A dagger, huh? And Elise Doonan tried to stab her with this weapon? To kill Miss Fay?
Yes, exactly.
Huh. You look like I did after I mistaken you for a swig of Worcestershire sauce. Do you have a problem with the testimony we're hearing from your client, lawyer boy? Do I have a problem with Iris's testimony? Your Honour, I have a small problem with the witness's testimony. You do? But this witness is your own client. Yes, well, nevertheless, that's fine. Witness, let's add your last statement to the testimony.
Yes, sir.
Hey, it's just it's my job to say that. Listen, Gramps, I won't say it again. Final judgment will be rendered by me. Okay, now let's continue.
She threw her staff away and pulled a dagger from inside her robe.
Sister Iris, there's something strange about your version of events.
Huh?
Miss Doonan throwing her staff away makes no sense at all to me.
All you can do is, with a staff is to hit someone.
Naturally, you wouldn't know this, Sister Iris, but the victim's staff had a special feature about it. As you can see, it's a sword.
Ah!
If Elise Doonan really had wanted to kill Maya Fay, she would have needed to use a separate dagger. Not when she already had a beautiful blade in her hands already. Well, Sister Iris, what do you have to say? That was an impressive bit of investigating, Trap. I never would have thought there was a sword in that staff. But even so, how should I put this? A long sword is unwieldy and thus quite effective in close quarters combat. Maybe that's why she chose a dagger over her blade. Well... Anyway, the type of weapon she chose to use isn't what's important. The important thing is that she tried to kill Maya Fay. As long as there's nothing strange about that, there's no problem with her testimony. But there is something strange about this whole testimony. Well, Mr. Wright, prosecution has a point. Very well, Your Honour. Defence will now present evidence to back its argument.
Mr. Wright?
I have here another piece of evidence that shows that this testimony cannot be trusted. Because Miss Elise Doonan would never attempt to take the life of Maya Fay. Elise Doonan would never attack Maya Fay.
How can you be so sure?
Because the victim's real name was not Elise Doonan. Her real name was Misty Fay. Fay?
Oh, no, not Misty Fay.
Who is this Misty Fay? She's related to... Misty Fay is the master of the Korean channeling technique. She's also the mother of Maya Fay. Are you serious?
Is it really true, Mr. Wright? Was Elise Doonan actually the great mystic Misty?
There's no doubt about it. Looks like Iris had no idea.
I can hardly believe it.
The idea that she would try to kill her own daughter, one she hadn't seen in 17 years. Perhaps the prosecution can offer some explanation for why she would do such a thing? Order of the court. On first hearing the witness's testimony, it would seem natural enough. However, in light of some facts that have just been presented, one, that the victim supposedly threw away a sword during a fight, and two, that the two people battling it to the death were mother and daughter, despite the facts being believable when taken on their own. When taken together, the entire story seems difficult to believe. Listen, there's nothing in this world that is impossible, except for one little thing. Yes, what is this one little impossible thing? How? You still don't get it? You think maybe my beans are under roasted, but you have no idea, Grams. Could you get to your point? I heard this witness's confession this morning. Just after taking the first sip of my 8th cup of morning coffee. You're going to ruin your health, my friend. Anyway, after hearing this woman's confession, a detective who loves to investigate sent to the scene of the crime. And he discovered this little beauty. Is that the dagger the witness testified to seeing? Obviously, Your Honor. But do you not notice something else? Now that you mention it, if you look closely, there appears to be blood on it. Where did you find that? I didn't see that when I investigated the crime scene. Did you investigate the pine tree at the crime scene? The pine tree? Dagger was stuck in the back side of the pine tree. When the last blow was struck, ending the violent battle between two women, this little baby was thrown in the direction of the back of the pine tree. Which means the blood on this dagger belongs to the victim, correct? Ha! Were you even listening, old man? I first heard his confession this morning, just as I'd taken the first sip of my 13th cup of morning coffee. You say it was your 8th just a few minutes ago. I didn't even have enough time to get the blood analysed on such short notice. In any case, the court will accept the dagger as evidence. Furthermore, I ordered that the blood test be performed on it immediately. This must be. I'll make sure you treat her right. Bailiff, get this piece of evidence to the crime lab for testing immediately. Now then, the testimony we've heard just had numerous unbelievable aspects to it. However, after having found the very dagger the witness spoke of, I believe we can consider her testimony to be credible. Cute girls never lie, ever. In any case, witness, if you could please testify again to this court.
About what, Your Honor?
About the incident you saw, the battle between the two women.
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Myers stumbled briefly after being hit over the head with a staff, but then she dodged Mr. Khaleesi's next attack and stole her weapon. Suddenly, Mr. Khalees was the one on the defensive with her back to the stone lantern. That's when Mr. Myers stabbed Mr. Khalees. Mr. Khalees managed to fling the knife away, but then she collapsed.
That was a very heartbreaking story.
I don't know if there were any bad feelings between them, but it's been 17 years since Misty's disappearance. Perhaps they simply didn't recognise each other anymore.
That seems reasonable. Now then, Mr. Wright, proceed with your cross-examination. Something about you just isn't right today, Iris.
Huh?
Till now, I didn't think you were the type to make such a careless mistake. However, the testimony you just gave contains quite a few contradictions.
Well, what do you mean? What's so wrong about my testimony?
According to you, Maya Face stabbed the victim while she had her back to the stone lantern, correct?
Yes, that's right.
But in that case, the victim would be stabbed in the stomach, right? Yes, I think so. But according to the autopsy report, the cause of death was due to blood loss from a stab wound in her back.
Ah!
This proves that the victim was stabbed from behind, not from the front. Sister Iris, it appears another seed of doubt is sprouted from your testimony.
Ah!
What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright? It's simple. People are like books. We've all got a front and the back, you get my drift? Is that all you have to say? I can also say that darkness loves to play with the human mind. Could you please knock it off with the cheesy proverbs and the illogical metaphors already? The point is, too much of this testimony just doesn't make sense. Throwing away useful stuff, the people fighting being mother and daughter, and now she falsely claims the victim was stabbed in the stomach? There certainly are some inconsistencies. Well, Iris, what about it?
Well, it's just...
If you ask me, you're just being too naive about the whole thing. What do you mean? There are 253 distinct types of bitterness in the coffee, but to pick out each one requires total concentration and use of hard senses. Will you really concentrate on what this witness actually said? Prosecutor, go to explain yourself. The witness is being quite unambiguous by her own ambiguities when she said the garden was dark and she couldn't see clearly. The human needs one thing to see clearly, and that is light. Light? And by the way, did you know Hazakura has a rule that all nights when an acolyte is at the inner temple training, the stone lantern in the garden must be kept lit? I did wonder what that stone lantern was there for. Well, if that's true, shouldn't the witness have been able to see the crime more clearly? Normally, yes, Your Honour, but according to the bad nun, Sister Bikini, on the night of the crime it was impossible to light the stone lantern. Impossible? Had been using it a long time and the wick was no good. In other words, it had to be nearly pitch black in the garden that night. There could have been a faint light coming from the training hall, but that's all. Most enlightening. Yes, that illuminating factor chased all the contradictions away. If the staff was dropped, it would be difficult to see. It also explains why they didn't recognize each other. We can't see the demons that lurk in the night. That's why humans are weak. Isn't that right, Trite? No. Order, order, order! Here, Your Honour. Let me present the stone lantern into evidence. Maybe rekindle the flame of truth in your mind. Why is the judge just sitting there with that look on his face? What's wrong, Your Honour? Was that flame too hard? This lantern, there's something written on it. Why it's written in blood? Oh boy, so the judge didn't know about that yet. Written in blood? It says Maya upside down. But what the? Oh yes, that's right. After being cornered and stabbed by Mystic Maya, Mystic Elise didn't fall down right away. She must have been writing that on the stone lantern behind her, with the blood that was draining out of her body. It certainly looks that way. Hang on just a minute. What are you all talking about? What do you mean, what are we all talking about? We're talking about the message written in blood. Nonsense. This lantern is as clear as a whistle. Could it be? You can't see the bloody writing at all. Now that I think of it, he did say something to me yesterday. My eyesight's pretty messed up. Even with these huge goggles on my head, I still can't see everything. So that's what he meant by that. In any case, this is obviously an important clue. We now know the crime scene was dark. The victim scrawled this message on the stone lantern. Well, Mr. Gordo, anything further? Mr. Gordo? Okay then, let's move on. Gordo is literally shaking, so I don't think it's from the caffeine overdose. I believe it has now been established that Miss Durham was killed by Maya Fay. So that's just wrong. Now it's time to turn attention to you. Yes, sir? After the victim died, you did something, didn't you? Let's hear it. Where are the ears? After Mystic Elise died, I called out to Mystic Maya. I thought it was my duty to protect the future master of the Korean tradition. So I removed the body from the inner temple by myself. I dragged it behind me all the way across Dusky Bridge. I used the snowmobile to carry it back to Hazakura Temple, and I used the Shishishito to alter the way the wound looked. So you moved the body? Yes, I was raised at Hazakura Temple. I have a great deal of thanks to the Fae clan. But even so, I never imagined that Elise Doonan was actually Misty Fae. I've committed a terrible sin. A terrible trick of fate. I believe you're looking for a twist of fate, Your Honour. I intend to return to the inner temple after taking care of the body. But you were swear by the head nun, correct? Yes, and that's why I couldn't go back. Your story makes sense, I suppose. Mr. Wright, go ahead with your cross-examination. Yes, Your Honour. snowmobile? I knew that would show up sooner or later.
Yes, I had the key. I used the snowmobile to travel from Hazakura Temple to Dusky Bridge.
This is the part that was in question the other day. Should I ask for more details? If you really did move her body by snowmobile, there should be tracks left in the snow, right?
Well, yes, naturally, you'd expect tracks.
This picture was presented at yesterday's trial. Are these the tracks that form on the ride?
Yes, I think they are.
But I can only see one set of tracks here.
I don't see what's so strange about that. Snow was still falling when I left Hazakura Temple.
I see, snow was still falling.
And then, when the murder took place, it already stopped. That's why there are such fresh-looking tracks.
How about it, Mr. Wright? What do you think about this testimony? When the murder took place, the snow had already stopped. It doesn't make sense for you to stack it up against the other evidence. Your Honour, I'd like the statement Iris just made added to the testimony.
But does it have something to do with the case?
All would be made clear if you allowed the statement to be added to the record. Huh, it should be fun. You, let's get this snow business cleared up, shall we?
Yes, sir.
You claim that the snow had already stopped when the murder occurred. Well, I'm sorry, Iris, that just isn't possible.
What?
This is the weather data from the night of the murder. According to this, the snow didn't stop until 10:50. But you couldn't have crossed Dusky Bridge at that time.
Well, why do you say that?
Because 5 minutes before the snow stopped, Dusky Bridge was struck by lightning and had caught on fire.
What did you say? The bridge, it was on fire?
You don't mean to say you didn't know about it? It was because of the lightning strike that this bridge burned down.
What? It can't be.
Looks like you still haven't figured it out. No matter how hard you try to deceive or conceal the truth, you can't pull the wool over the eyes of a real defense attorney.
No.
Order, order, order! The bridge was already on fire when the incident took place. That's right, the inner temple was already totally cut off from the outside world. There's no way you could have crossed the bridge, body or no body. Witness, even my patience has its limits. Any further lying, I'll find you in contempt of court. Do you have anything to say for yourself? The only person here that is truly contemptible is you. Old man.
Me? How dare you?
Whether this witness lied or not doesn't mean squat right now. Squat? The important thing now is to find out the truth, isn't that right?
Yes, of course, but whether it was snowing or not snowing, or whether the bridge would burn or not,
there are two facts that can't be disputed. First, the body of Elise Doonan was discovered in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. And second, there had none, Sister Bikini witnessed Iris desecrated Elise Doonan's body. He makes a good point on both accounts.
That's not right, I'm not lying.
What are you claiming this time?
I wasn't myself at all that night, so my memory is still somewhat hazy.
You have stood at the witness stand and testified this entire time. Are you telling us now that your memory of that night is hazy? You're the only human to err. If you're so perfect, Trap, maybe you can explain this for the court. What is it? When the murder happened, the bridge already burnt down. But somehow the body travelled across the bridge and was found in the temple courtyard. Imagine you have some kind of perfect explanation of this little magic trick. Oh, well, not exactly, no. I know there must be some other way she could go across that burnt out bridge. But unless I can somehow demonstrate it, we'll never know the truth. Looks like the defence is not prepared to offer a suitable explanation. See what I mean? In other words, you're in no position to suggest that this lady's testimony isn't the truth. Ah. Alright, then witness, let's hear your testimony once more.
About what, Your Honour?
You've admitted that you moved the victim's body. Nevertheless, your prior testimony contained a rather large inconsistency. Please add an explanation for that to your testimony.
Yes, Your Honour.
Will this be her final testimony?
Other than walking over the bridge, there's no way to move the body, so I must have just gotten confused, I guess. Was the snow still falling? Had it stopped? Does it really matter that much? Or are you saying that there is a way to cross a burning bridge?
I'm sure it was just a misunderstanding. Let's see. This is a photo of Dusky Bridge after it burned down from the lightning blast, taken on the morning after the incident. It certainly was burned to a crisp, and one of the suspensions wires it even snapped. It's amazing the whole bridge didn't fall at all. Clearly, it would be impossible to carry a corpse across a bridge in this condition. Unless I do something to discredit this testimony, it's going to be deemed as the truth. Mine will be accused of murder. Try it, I'm only going to say it one more time. It is only human to err, and only humans suspect the errors of our ways. The more sense he makes, the less sense he makes. Alright, Mr. Wright, please begin your final cross-examination. A dead body flying over a burning bridge? I wouldn't exactly rule out the possibility. What? Huh. You're saying it's possible? Don't make me laugh. I mean, it's possible that your claims have been pulled out of thin air. I don't know about that. In any case, we have a witness who did see it happen. Preposterous. Who is it? Who is this witness? Can't chicken out here. I've got to keep on the attack and go, go, go. Mr. Lee's Doonim, brilliant and highly gifted apprentice. Larice Doonim, brilliant, highly gifted apprentice. Remember what he said in his testimony? That night he was at the Mountain Shack, Heavenly Hall, and that's when he witnessed the event. I think you've all seen the sketch before. It's an exact drawing of what he witnessed that night. Are you serious? Today's not April Fool's Day, is it? Mr. Wright, are you seriously claiming that the victim flew through the air? And you're using this pathetic scribble to support your argument? Uh-oh, the judge looks like he's about to blow a gasket. Huh. Well, Trout, there's nowhere for you to hide now. Other than looking like it was drawn by a 6-year-old, does this sketch prove anything? Yes, I'm pretty sure it does, and I'm going to prove it. Listen, I know your tricks. You're trying to turn this whole thing upside down. If you're so eager to turn this case upside down, why not start with this sketch? Upside down? Why did it go to say that? Alright then, let's hear the defence's theory. What exactly is this sketch trying to show? I don't think old Whiskerface is going to forgive any more mistakes. Alright, Phoenix, look carefully and think it over. This sketch drawn by Larice Doonim is a complete contradiction. Something is obviously funny about this sketch. I'm no art critic, but even I can see that. No, that's not what I meant, Your Honour. Larice Doonim stated it over and over. This sketch was exactly as he saw it. However, if we're to believe his testimony, then the sketch contradicts reality as we know it.
It contradicts reality?
Huh, this is getting interesting. Let's say back to that finger-pointing thing again. Okay, Trap, so what exactly contradicts reality as we know it? It's this wire connected to the bridge. The wire? Huh. Is that the thing that contradicts reality? It is indeed. It shows the reality it supposedly conflicts with. Show us something that will point out how the sketch contradicts reality. That's a photo of Dusky Bridge, correct? Yes, now compare the sketch and the photo for a minute. In the sketch, the wires appear to be above the guard wires. On the actual Dusky Bridge, jumping into Jehoshaphat, the wires are below the guard wires. What? Order, order, order! This sketch is somewhat different than what's depicted in the photo. However, is it likely that the artist just saw it wrong? Or perhaps he just drew it wrong? Either way, it sounds like you're just wrong. With someone like Larice, I admit a mistake is a definite possibility. But then that begs the question, why did he make a mistake? What was the reason? Are you saying you know the answer to that? Listen, think back, alright? Remember what Larice was doing when he witnessed this event? He was at Heavenly Hall waiting for a lover that was never going to come. He waited and finally he laid down. But then lightning shoots from the sky and sets the bridge aflame. Now ponder what sort of position Larice must have been in at the time. He was lying on his back, which is why he remembered the scene the way he did. He was lying on his back. I can't see how it relates. But it does, Your Honour. That is the reason the wires in the sketch go up instead of down. Ah! No way! Larice Doonan witnessed the event while he was lying on his back, face up. In other words, the scene that he saw was actually upside down. So then, this sketch could actually... I think you finally get it, Your Honour. Correct way to view Larice Doonan's sketches like this. This is how it should actually look. The victim's body wasn't flying above the bridge, it was actually swinging below. That's right, just like a pendulum. Order, order, order! Of all the things to say, a pendulum? The bridge was burning to a crisp, there was no way to get across it, but if the body had been found at the inner temple, it would have caused problems. This is where the criminal decided to take a gamble. They used the burning bridge to get the body across to the other side, and a pendulum was the only way to get it done. Let's think about this for a minute, shall we? Dusky Bridge is about 20 yards long, which means it's about that far from the inner temple to the opposite cliff. Yes, that sounds right. You want to cover that distance with a pendulum. You need a rope at least 10 yards long. To get a rope that long, you have to plan ahead. The lightning strike that night could only have been an accident, so it doesn't make sense that the culprit would have prepared the rope beforehand. So then, they didn't have to get the rope ready. The rope was already right in front of them. What? I'm saying that it was just a matter of using what was already there. In that case, Mr. Wright, please give us an explanation for your theory. What makes you think the criminal had the rope on hand for his pendulum? And the meaning of this is, if you want to know where the rope came from, hanging right there in front of your glorious beard. Ah, this is one of the wires on the bridge. When the lightning struck the bridge and set it on fire, one of the suspension wires came loose from its anchor. The criminal didn't have any time to waste, so they tied the wire around Elise Doonan's body. Because there was simply no other way to move the body. Huh. Mr. Godo? It seems that Mr. Godo is more focused on his coffee than answering my question. It seems that the odds of a rope being readily available are very high, so I suppose it's not an impossibility after all. Objection! Possible or impossible? That's not the question we need to ask. There's only one question. Did that really happen? Try it. I wonder if you can prove what happened to us. Do you have any actual evidence the body was swinging like a pendulum? Before I present my evidence, let me review what we know so far. According to this photo, one of the wires snapped. Looking at the map, we can see that it's the one that was in front of the inner temple. So then, that was the spot where the criminal... Yes, precisely. Now let's consider the body's movement by looking at the overhead map again. If the body was pushed from this point here, it would drop on the opposite bank approximately at this point. Did you say drop? Well, they must have failed to catch the body on the other bank. What makes you think something like that happened? Because I have evidence that suggests the body dropped from some distance. What kind of evidence? Take a look at this autopsy report. It said here that a body fell about 10 feet after her death. 10 feet? It's most likely the height difference between the two sides. The body overswung due to forward momentum, but then came from loose and fell about 10 feet. Then as a result of the landing impact, this crystal sphere was knocked loose. Yes, that's blood-stained amorphous crystal. It's the one that came off Mr. Lean's staff. And even more important is the place where this crystal was found. Indeed, I believe it's already marked on this overhead map. The crystal was found... precisely, Your Honour. In the very spot where the pendulum would arrive, given the right amount of speed. This explains your theory quite well, Mr. Wright. You have provided us with the way the body could have moved that night. An impressive deduction, Mr. Wright. Most impressive. Mr. Wright? I thought this cold coffee might help cool you down. What is the meaning of this, Mr. Godot? That was dark and bitter. Guess that you made. Try it. But you forgot one thing. And what would that be? The aroma. Huh? Coffee's most reliable compass is deep and profound aroma. The rest of the court doesn't speak Coffinese. Can you elaborate a bit more? If the criminals hadn't been sent back the body to the other side like you say, then naturally there must have been an accomplice lying in wait to catch it. Accomplice? The criminal wasn't able to cross Dusky Bridge, so collected the body. What do you have to say about that, Trap? Mr. Godot is correct. This can't be the work of a single person. Well, Mr. Wright, you know what you must do. Yes, Your Honour. Body couldn't have made it to Hazakura Temple without an accomplice. Very well then. If you please, Mr. Wright, who was the person that received the body on Hazakura Temple side? It can only be you, Sister Iris.
But I
don't see why you're so surprised. The only way to transport the body from Dusky Bridge is by snowmobile. But with her bad back, Sister Bikini could never pick up a body like that. You're the only one that could have managed it. Try it for you and the sins of the evidence yesterday. On the night of the crime, this little cutie pie was on clean-up duty in the inner temple garden after the Miller Temple bloodbath. I haven't forgotten a bit of you, Mr. Godot. This witness was also seen at Hazakura Temple, desecrating the corpse of the victim. Strange indeed. It's almost as if, on that night, the defendant was in 2 different places at the same time. Sister Iris let me ask you something. Why didn't you mention it when you first gave your testimony?
Mention what?
Pendulum, of course. Using a sketch drawn by an eyewitness, I have established how the body was moved using the burnt-out bridge, which means it's now a fact that this occurred, something you should have already known.
No, I had no idea. I didn't know anything about a pendulum.
But the body couldn't have been passed along to the other side without your help. So you have to be known about it. In fact, it would be impossible to be clueless about this whole thing. Unless you're not really Iris to begin with.
What? How can you say that, Mr. Wright?
What? What kind of nonsense is this? You're saying this witness isn't Iris of Azakura Temple? Are you serious, Trot? You mean this woman is? There's no one besides Iris that could have received a corpse that night. Now I get it. Now I know why I've been sick to my stomach this whole trial. Why her whole demeanour changed so suddenly from yesterday. And why she's trying to pin this murder on Maya. The woman is standing there at the witness stand. Her real name is... I never thought I'd have to utter your name again, let alone see you. It's been a long time, Dahlia Hawthorne. Hawthorne? Sister Iris had a twin sister, and you're looking at her, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. That name rings some bells, distant bells, but bells nonetheless. Huh, just your imagination, Grams. These faculties are the relevant data about Dahlia Hawthorne. Oh yes, I remember now. That case 5 years ago. My name is Dahlia Hawthorne. I just want to say it's an honour for me to be here in your noble presence. The honour is all mine. No, the honour is all mine. But according to this, Dahlia Hawthorne is already dead. So the execution was carried out last month. So, death has no meaning in this courtroom. Order, order, order.
Wait a moment. How can you miss my sister? She's already dead. What kind of...
You of all people should already understand that after all, blood of the master Karain channeling technique flows within that body. Karain channeling technique? Now where have I heard that? That's right, you're not Dahlia Hawthorne herself. The spirit of Dahlia currently inhabiting the body of a spirit medium. What an exciting story, but exciting but quite impossible. You're asking us to buy that Dahlia Hawthorne is having to be channeled by someone. On the very night of the murder to a temple where her twin sister Iris was? If you're going to put things that way, then yes. We're supposed to believe a coincidence like that just happens. Naturally, it was no coincidence. The whole thing was part of a plan from the very beginning. It's all written right here in these instructions.
Oh, well, what's that?
These instructions were written by your mother, Morgan Fay. And part of the plan calls for Dahlia Hawthorne to be channeled. That night, there were 2 irises at the Hazakura Temple. Two of them, even the time of the channeling was planned out. As soon as you hear the lights out bell, in other words, 10 o'clock. However, Iris was seen before dinner time. That means the Iris that was at dinner was the real Iris. And the Iris who gave me this hood in the main hall was also the real Iris. Meaning the Iris sister bikini saw at the temple, someone else dressed as her, namely one Dahlia Hawthorne. You don't even know what you're saying, Trent. This whole channeling the spirit of Dahlia Hawthorne business. Yes, truly you found plans to talk about it. However, one thing perfectly clear. The witness currently standing in this trial is the real Iris. What? Calm down on what you said about the night of the crime. After meeting Sister Bikini, Dahlia Hawthorne that had been channeled will be restrained at the inner temple due to the lightning strike. It was later that body was moved by a pendulum. That's right. Naturally, this would mean that the Iris that received the body was the real Iris. Are you with me so far? Yes. After being notified of what happened, the police came to Hazakura Temple's main hall. There they found Iris in her room and arrested her. Ever since she's been under police supervision at the detention center. Yes, I suppose I can't deny any of that.
Phew, thank goodness. Looks like he's finally convinced.
Something still seems off. Way off. I'm still not convinced that the Iris here is the same one from the other night. Huh. I suppose you're about to say something really ridiculous. Like the real Iris and the spirit of Dahlia, some will switch places. Switch places? To be perfectly honest, still quite a few things I don't understand, but I do know that unless we confirm the witness's identity, we can't continue this trial. Iris doesn't have the spiritual power needed to channel Dahlia, which means he must have switched places somewhere. Well, Mr. Wright, since the time she was arrested at Hazakura Temple, have there been any chances for Iris to switch places with Dahlia Hawthorne? Your Honour, I think there might have been one chance. Oh, explain yourself. Yesterday for a few minutes, Iris's whereabouts were unknown. Unknown? What do you mean? What I mean is, there was a span of time in which Iris was able to move about freely, unsupervised. Well, who was it? Who would have given a murderer a suspect time to move about freely like that? I'm sorry. I know you didn't mean to. It wasn't your fault. The person who gave Iris a chance to freely move about was... This is Mr. Edgeworth, isn't it? Your Honour, there was a fairly large earthquake yesterday, was there not? An earthquake?
Earthquake! Oh my goodness! Your temple is going to tremor, right?
How could I have... She fled. She escaped. We went to the inner temple right away. And it's true Iris was already there. However, they already switched places by that point in time. When I arrived at the training hall, I was met by none other than Dahlia Hawthorne. That's quite enough already, Mr. Wright. Now see here. No judge in his right mind will consider the idea of spirit channeling. Be quiet. It's been a long time, Mr. Judge. That voice. Guess I'll have to ask again. Upon meeting the beautiful lady, always ask for her name and profession. That's one of my rules. Dahlia Hawthorne, and my current profession? Permanently retired. Huh. So you're not going to bother hiding your identity anymore? Why should I? After all, I'm dead. There's really nothing you can do to punish me. What is going on here? Dahlia Hawthorne. I never thought we'd meet again, and I never thought we'd meet like this. But this time, I'll end it. For her and for myself. The plot thickens, a lot, we will be getting testimony from Dahlia Hawthorne in the next video. This has been Darth Browner. Thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to give us a like and hit that subscribe button. And you best not miss the next video, because boy oh boy, it's going to get twisty. Real twisty. Ciao for now, everyone. Bye.